Spiritual philosophy, a path to self-realization and enlightenment. Harmonizing with the Divine Essence. Quest Series 6, Video Number 3. Readings from the Writings of Paul Brunton. Presented by the Paul Brunton Philosophic Foundation. If the infinite being is trying to express its own nature within the limitations of this earth, and therefore trying to express itself through us, too, it is our highest duty to search for and cultivate our diviner attributes. Only in this way do we really fulfill ourselves. This search and this cultivation constitute the quest. It is important to remember that your real guide is your own Overself, divine soul or higher self. That it is this which led you to your present stage of awareness, whilst my books were merely used as instruments. It is to this self that you should address your prayers and petitions for grace and guidance. The vision of the world and the understanding of life which you receive from the lips or books of others will never be so true nor so real as that which you make on your own. What shall it profit you if you hear 1,000 lectures or read 1,000 books, but have not found your Overself? Advance to the next step and seek to realize within your own experience that which is portrayed to you by your intellect. That is where the real spiritual work begins. You need to recover your conscious relationship to the Overself. The subconscious one is never lost. Is this benign state a past from which we have lapsed, or a future to which we are coming? The true answer is that it is neither. This state has always been existent within us, is so now, and always will be. It is forever with us simply because it is what we really are. Because the Overself is already there within you, in all its immutable sublimity, you need not develop it or perfect it. You have to develop and perfect your ego until it becomes like a polished mirror, held up to and reflecting the sacred attributes of the Overself, and showing openly forth the divine qualities which had hitherto lain hidden behind itself. The purpose of spiritual self-scrutiny is to bring the babbling stream of thoughts to rest, and then to penetrate consciously into the region of the Overself, to make its silence articulate, and to set up a relationship between your normal conscious mind and this mysterious all-powerful reality, which is your divine counterpart. The student has to stand aside from the thought forms. This means that you must stand aside from the person and look at it as something external to you. If and when you succeed in getting behind it, you automatically adopt the standpoint of the Overself. You must make the person an object, and the Overself its observer. Now this element of pure awareness is something constant and unbroken. Hence it is not ordinary consciousness, which is a discontinuous thing made of totalized thoughts, but transcendental consciousness. As thoughts themselves stop coming into your mind, you stop living in time and begin living in the eternal. You know and feel your timelessness. And since all your sufferings belong to the world of passing time, of personal ego, you leave them far behind as though they had never been. You find yourself in the heaven of a serene, infinite bliss. You learn that you could always have entered it. Only your insistence on holding to the little egoistic values, your lack of thought control, and your disobedience to the age-old advice of the great teachers prevented you from doing so. When this exalted feeling is transferred to the intellect, and there turned into thought, whether for expression in words for one's own understanding or for communication to others, it is termed a truth. In this form, it becomes a source of renewed inspiration, a help in darker times, and a guide to live by in ordinary times. Let no one imagine that contact with the Overself is a kind of dreamy reverie or a pleasant, fanciful state. It is a vital relationship with a current of peace, power, and goodwill flowing endlessly from the invisible center to the visible self. All will come under review periodically. The management of your relationships with others, your personal, social, and professional activities, the management of your life. But all this scrutiny is to be done from a standpoint higher than the ordinary one, less ego-governed, and more impersonal. Therefore, it should be done only and preferably at such times as this mood is upon you, if it is to be effectively done. In your reactions to and dealings with all this, you are really reacting to and dealing with yourself. You are showing quarrelsomeness or trying to conquer it. You are losing yourself in the day's activity or saving yourself from it in a half-hour retreat. You are letting negative thoughts or feelings stay in your heart or trying to drive them out of it. You are practicing a larger relationship and a kindlier attitude towards those you encounter in your day-to-day business. Or you are failing to recognize why they, and not others who are quite different, have been put into your path by the infinite intelligence. Your environment is really a testing place and a disciplinary school. To turn your mind instantly toward the divinity within, when in the presence of discordant people, is to silence harsh thoughts and to banish hurtful feelings. This frequent turning inward is necessary, not only for spiritual growth, but for self-protection. Everything and everyone around us play a potent influence upon our minds, and this is the best means of detaching yourself from this ceaseless flow of suggestions. The unfoldment of intuitive action, intuitive thinking, and intuitive feeling means that the Overself and the personality are then in accord and working together. The little circle of the ego then lies within the larger circle of the Overself, in harmony and in cooperation. When you feel something of this relationship as a loving response, then cease trying to absorb support from the All, whose soul is the world mind, and begin to pass it out compassionately and share its grace unselfishly with others. You can practice this in the following way. You see others in your imagination suffused with the Overself's warm light and sublime peace. First, you direct your effort with love towards those who are near or dear, and to any special individuals whom you would like to help in this way. Then you direct your efforts with love towards mankind in the mass, whom you must regard as unconsciously forming one great family. Third, you direct it towards individuals who are hostile to you, who hate, injure, or criticize you. You must consider them as your teachers, for it is their business to pick out and make you aware of your faults. You need not send love, but you must send them pity. Close this exercise with a short, silent personal prayer to the Overself. Love is to be given as a first duty to our own higher self, and only then to others. We are here on earth to find the soul, not to better the social relationship, nor to construct utopia. These are highly desirable things. Let us seek them by all means, but let us not make the mistake in thought of calling them first things. The two ideas are not mutually exclusive. They ought to be and can be held side by side, but one as primary and the other as secondary. If you let this purpose penetrate your entire life, you will soon joyously feel that you are part of the eternal structure of the universe, that you fit into the purpose, meaning, and intelligent order of it at some point, and that with such a high relationship, all things must work together for your ultimate good. Quotes were taken from the notebooks of Paul Brunton and P.B.'s book, The Inner Reality. Paul Brunton, 1898 to 1981, a best-selling British author of a dozen books, spent much of his early life researching the original sacred teachings of Western and Eastern spiritual traditions. He traveled the world to discover and communicate with Christian, Kabbalistic, Vedantic, Buddhist, Taoist, indigenous, and Sufi masters. Blending the richness of his own spiritual experience and inquiry with these ancient and contemporary teachings, he developed a philosophy and path of practice that suits life in the 21st century, one that expresses the greatest wisdom and love available to humankind. Regardless of how it is named, we each have a divine soul, an overself or higher self, that is with us here and now, waiting to be realized. Paul Brunton's writings are a source of deep spiritual guidance for all those interested in living a divinely inspired life.